Hey everyone, hope you're having a good Wednesday. My goodness, is this weather pattern crazy active? Now, I just want to let you know that I have a feeling that this system on Friday is going to be a little bit more than what a lot of people are talking about. I'm not saying this is set in stone for sure, but there's definitely the opportunity. And I think that there's going to be a little bit of a wintry mix tonight. I'm not really calling about, talking about the wind mix tonight. That's not really the big story. The big story is the system that's diving in on Friday. But let me kind of give you the very latest here on the timing on all this stuff. Is it ever going to stop? That is a good question, Kayla, because right now I'm losing years off my life. I am I'm literally running out of steam, man. And there's a system tonight that finally comes through the back edge, what we call a wraparound. So that's going to lead to a little bit of a wintry mix. I don't doubt that happens. A few snowflakes mixing in with some rain. Then we have on Friday, after a beautiful Thursday afternoon, another system that comes in that I think is being underdone on some of the global models because you look at the ensembles and they're showing it. So more snow is coming, in my opinion. It's going to be a wet snow again on Friday. I don't have an accumulation map yet because it's too early for that because there's a lot of uncertainty. But then after a beautiful weekend, we've got another big system that comes in Monday night into Tuesday. That brings a potential for heavy rain. With the ground already saturated, it's like literally we're about to have the straw that breaks the camel's back. Then we have another system coming in Thursday of next week. So that's a big system as well. It's just an unbelievable wave train of systems. So let's go ahead and we'll look at the future track here and we'll show you what's going on. So, first of all, there's rain that's out there right now. In fact, I can hear it coming through. We still have these little waves of precipitation that are popping up. Here's a look at some thunderstorm activity. In fact, there was earlier a confirmed tornado in parts of Louisiana crossing into Mississippi. Here's the back edge of the precipitation, what we call a wraparound. We're going to highlight that, but let's go back to that future radar and show you what we've got. So overnight tonight, precipitation kind of on and off. Then you get to see this wraparound that develops, and I don't think it's going to be a big deal, but I think there's going to be a few snowflakes mixing in with the precipitation on the very back edge. I don't think the model is handling this perfectly. Temperatures will be above freezing, so it's not really a big deal. And on top of that, the track of this low is just not favorable for the potential for winter weather. Now, after a beautiful Thursday, Thursday is going to be an amazing day, but we've got big time changes ahead for Friday. And here's why. So this is going to change because the model is updating every 6 hours and it doesn't go out the full time, but you're going to see precipitation start off as rain. So this is going to be above freezing on Friday, and then the cold front rolls in. Now watch what happens here. We've got colder weather. Temperatures will be in the 30s, mid 30s as well. Now, the thing I'm concerned about is the intensity of this storm. I can tell you firsthand that the intensity of this storm is more than what the global models show. In fact, the global models are showing the intensity of the storm, but then they don't produce the amount of precipitation that it looks like. So this is not going to be ice. And there's a good reason for that. It's because we're going to have cold temperatures basically from the surface all the way up, except for the very edge of the surface. So there you go. Sarah saying, must be something. I have pain. Yeah, absolutely. So let's go back to the future track here. And now watch the temperature drop as what we call evaporative cooling takes place. And you might remember that with that snow event that happened, what was it, 2 weeks ago? It was in the late part of January. Well, I can tell you the exact date. I know. It was January 21st into the 24th into the 25th. So look at all that precipitation. Now the model, let's see if it goes out far enough. No, the data drops off and then it just disappears. But regardless, that's a lot of precipitation. Now, there is a reason why there's that much precipitation. This is a very intense system. So let me show you, first of all, we're going to suck you into the weather vortex with this system. This system was super impressive. And you know how we focused on the river valley having most of the rain the heavy rain and the flooding, and that definitely came true, came to very good fruition. You can actually look at this on the water vapor. You can see the track of the low, and you can see how this track of the low is going to take it to the northwest of us. Still, we get clipped by the wraparound. This is the wraparound precipitation, and that will barely clip our area. However, I can tell you this, that the majority of that activity will be northwest of us. Now, here's Friday's system. Friday's system looks very intense. Now, the problem is that not a lot of people are calling for this. In fact, I want to challenge you, and you can hop off this Facebook Live. Go into your phone apps, look at the precipitation chances for our Friday. So go look at it and put in that percentage for precipitation and let me know what it shows. So you haven't missed anything yet, Catherine. We're talking about the system that's coming in here. Friday system, there it is. Big dip in the jet stream. Now, typically, you don't get 2 or 3 major systems in a week, but this type of weather pattern is so stinking active. Here comes the next one. Now, this is intensifying. Yes, it's going to be positive tilt, but at the same time, it's intensifying. We can actually see it intensifying. See those colder cloud tops right at the end of this loop. This is a sign that this system is intensifying and continuing to increase. Now, all right, so you see 50, 50, 42 for Neosho, WeatherBug, 30, Weather Channel, 53. Okay, good. Getting some different percentages. 30%. There you go, 40%. For Friday. This is all for Friday. Yep. All right. So you see the system. Now watch what happens here. This system that's diving in is intense. First of all, the other system that we've been watching, well, that's moving out. That's this one. Very big system. See those bright blues? That's about as strong of the spin as you can get in the atmosphere. Here comes the next one. Now, this is the European model. And I'm going to pause it here because look at the size of this system. It's big. It's massive. But then at the same time, you look at what this precipitation is doing. And this doesn't make sense to me. I don't believe this. So you can see a little bit of green showing up. That's not enough precipitation, in my opinion. Maybe at that point it's okay, but watch what happens as it gets closer. This system is intensifying. These types of systems that intensify bring more than you can expect. And the high resolution models pick up on some of these smaller details. You're going to notice here, that's a very strong spin with a potential for big time wraparound. But then you look at this and it doesn't show much. So this has the system, what we call a vorticity, and the precipitation. And it just doesn't have a lot on there. And then the system moves out, and yes, it will be clearing out by Friday evening. But the thing is that I think this system means business. And the way that this pattern has been going and the way that these winters have been going, I'm telling you this, that this is going to be a mess. So first of all, let's go into this. Let's go into all these weather apps and see. Okay, WeatherBug says 30, Weather Channel 53%, 50%. There's 42% from Roby. Michelle says 49%. I'm ready to play with my new RV. Dan, make this go away. I hear that. This is just some crazy weather. Saying 60% in Harrison, 40% for Megan. Ashley says 30%. Quinn says 50%. 0 for Friday. 51 here in Central Arkansas. 49, 30, 40, 55, 45 in Alma. 50% Friday. First of all, one thing I'll never do, and you'll never see me go on the 7-day, is 50%. I don't like it. I know that it doesn't mean flip a coin, but a lot of people think, well, it may rain, it may not rain. Isn't that any day? Yeah, I don't like that. Stephanie, 60%, 79% at 6 a.m., 20% at 5 p.m. Okay. There's a lot of different weather apps, folks, and that's my point. And the point is that this is why people think meteorologists are wrong all the time. So let's look at some of the models and I'll show you what I'm going with on my percentage. So first of all, here's the snowfall accumulation. There are uncertainties, including the graph that basically did what I call a pump fake. Congratulations to LeBron for breaking the all-time scoring record in the NBA. But this is an ultimate pump fake right here. Because the graph 12 hours ago, 6 hours ago, as a matter of fact, had a lot more precipitation than this. Okay, so that's the graph. Here's the European. It shows snow, but it doesn't have a lot. It only has 0.1 to 0.3 and none in the river valley. The GFS, once again, very little. But remember, it's those fine scale details. It's the mesoscale features that can't be detected a lot of times on these global models because the resolution isn't good enough. And then the NAM goes bonkers, all right? Just goes absolutely crazy. Do I believe that? No, I don't. But I think there's going to be a happy medium between that. So if we look at the HRRR, and it's still too early, by the way, to make an accumulation map. It's just this is kind of a tricky forecast. But let's look at the HRRR. And so by Friday morning, we're already starting to get a heavy wet snow. I think there's going to be some higher elevations that do get some snow accumulation, and that shows a little more. Now it shows a little less in the river valley, but I wouldn't take it out completely. And then you can see that there's a swath of snow. It's not really being talked about last couple of days. In fact, the European took it out 2 days ago, and I refused to bite on the pump fake. So there's the snow that pops up on Friday. So what am I going with? What are my percentages? Well, I'm going 70 at the moment, and I probably could bump it up to 80, but there is a little uncertainty exactly how this wraparound will develop. So this is what I'm going for. And remember, all these precipitation forecasts are for specific areas, as you guys illustrated with your percentages. They're changing, but we don't know exactly where you're at. And, weather apps try to get localized. So here's the precipitation on the timing. And you're going to notice that obviously there's precipitation tonight and into the morning, and perhaps maybe a little bit of a wintry mix, a few snowflakes mixing in. It's not going to be a major deal. Thursday is going to be totally dry. Friday, in the early morning hours, there's that precipitation cranking up, gets up to 70%, and then drops back down pretty quick. So, with that being said, I think there's going to be some surprises. I think there's going to be changes to the forecast. And I think this precipitation on Friday is going to surprise a lot of people. But you're not surprised because you're watching this Facebook Live right now, or this Meta Live or Weather Live update because it's on multiple platforms. So there's that little mix that I have in the morning, early in the morning. We're talking shortly after midnight, and there's that wintry mix for rain and snow. I don't know why the winds aren't showing up on there. I thought I put them in. Wet snow. It's going to be another one of those very wet snows, and then gorgeous weather Saturday and Sunday. And then, yes, you guessed it, another big system coming in with heavy rain potential. I don't like the looks of this Tuesday system. The creeks are already swollen, filled up. This has repercussions, I think, for next week that we could, if this system verifies, which it looks like it will, we're going to see the potential for some significant flooding. I'm going to show you this here. This is the vorticity here. This is how active this weather pattern is. Check this out. You got one system moving through. You got the next one diving in. We get a brief break from the activity. Here comes the third system after the weekend. That moves in. There's Monday's system that zips in, that brings rain. And then there's a system that comes in Tuesday. And then look at that. Lo and behold, another system quickly on its heels moving in that will bring additional rain and thunderstorm activity for the end of next week. So, wow, there's a bunch going on. Let's see, predictions for travel Friday. So here's the deal with travel, and this is how this works. At first, we're going to be above freezing. So when the snow starts, it's not going to be a big deal, and it'll kind of melt. But the problem is, and I can't detect this as of now, how fast is that snowfall rate going to be? How crazy does that snow come down? Because if it comes down really heavy, it doesn't matter if you're above freezing. Case in point, the 24th and the 25th. Now, while I don't think this is going to be as big as that system had a lot working for it. There's a little uncertainty as to the depth and the strength of the moisture with this system, which is why there's uncertainty. However, I'll just say this, that I think this will bring surprises. Now, Chelsea, our anchor on KNWA, had a great question. And this is kind of where the weather vortex goes. She said, how can something go from rain to snow? And, when we say it changes from rain to snow, we're talking about at the surface for rain to snow changeover. But I think this is important to know. And so you're going to geek out with me here a little bit. What we're going to do is we're going to look at a sounding. And this sounding basically is what the atmosphere is looking like precipitation wise. And so let me crank this over here. See if you follow me. Nope. It doesn't like, nope. I don't want any more active weather. I'm not following you anymore. There we go. All right. So this is the latest HRRR, and this is going to show you how the precipitation goes. So the red line, first of all, what you're looking at is a skew T. And the skew T is basically, the reason it's called a skew T is because the temperature lines, these lines right here that are running from bottom left to upper right, they're skewed, and they're skewed to the right. The reason they're skewed is because in order to see the atmosphere on one image, you have to skew the temperature lines, because typically the temperature decreases with height unless you have an inversion, and that's a whole nother story. So this is our freezing line. Anything to the left of it is above freezing, or anything to the right of it is above freezing, and anything to the left of it is below freezing. So just imagine kind of dividing this in half, or dividing it from this line. Now here's Thursday, beautiful weather, not even a cloud in the sky, but we're going to start to see those high clouds increase. And it doesn't take long for this precipitation to develop. Now what you're looking at here is the temperature and the dew point. The red line is the temperature, green is the dew point. When they're close together, that's precipitation. And here's what we're going to do. I'm going to get the relative humidity off of there. So it's starting to cloud up, and then you can see it's actually already drizzling by midnight on Thursday. Now, at this point, we don't have any snow, because this is what's called the dendritic growth zone, where you basically have snowflakes that form from minus 12 to minus 17 degrees Fahrenheit, or Celsius, excuse me. This is where minus 12 to minus 17 Celsius is your dendritic growth zone. That's where your big six-sided ice crystals known as dendrites grow. If the red line and green line isn't in that area close together, you're not saturated, so you don't have any ice in the clouds. But this is precipitation. Now watch what happens as we go along in time. See that saturation taking place? But notice that this whole area of the skew T is above freezing. You see that? It's to the right of this temperature line, which is 0 degrees Celsius. However, look at what we're having now. We're starting to see snowflakes in the sky. And those snowflakes are falling because it's totally saturated, but they get to this level at about 3,000 feet above the ground, and they start melting. And when they melt, they turn to rain. So you're going to get just rain. But over time, look at what happens. As the atmosphere cools, as this system gets colder aloft, as wraparound occurs, you see it changing over from rain about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, because here's just a smaller layer now below above freezing, and a very large deep layer below freezing. So now we've got your dendritic growth zone. We've got snowflakes falling. They'll partially melt, so we have rain, but then you're going to eventually see it change over to snow. And that's when this temperature starts to drop, and you see that take place. Now, this is as far out as this model goes. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to not have enough time to look at anything else because, yeah, you're good. Yeah. Are you recording something? Oh, you got Christian on the phone? Yeah, we're on Facebook Live, but we got a show to do, obviously. So anyways, I guess that's all I can give you with the weather vortex because the temperature is going to be dropping throughout the day on Friday. And it's all a matter of how long this precipitation lasts, which, by the way, the models are underdoing, in my opinion. Now, I got to show you something pretty crazy. This is the latest graph model. Okay. This is the last thing I'm going to show you. The graph model shows precipitation coming in Friday morning, but it's very limited. I mean, there's not much on there at all. So now we're going to look at the model run from earlier today, and you're going to see quite a dramatic difference. So this model pump faked where it totally took the precipitation out, and I'm not buying it. And one of the reasons is if you look at the ensembles, and this is the last thing I'm going to show you because I got to get ready for this show. So ensembles, we talked about it before. Ensembles basically do all sorts of different members, and then they detect on if there's going to be snow or not. Well, in my opinion, a 20-30% chance of snow is not valid and is not justified. It needs to be more, and here's the reason why. When we look at this is the European ensemble. Notice every member except for a couple, 1, 2, 3 out of or 4. So 4 members out of 50 do not have snow Friday morning. And then we look at the GFS ensemble, which the deterministic really doesn't have much. And you can see that that also has snow. Yes, granted, it is a little less, but there's a lot of uncertainty with the track of this system. So here's the deal. We're going to have more data here tonight after the 10 o'clock, and I'll give you another update. And until then, stay alive. I'll try myself. So take care, and we'll see you later.